This conference will now be recorded.
Say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone. July 19, 2022. Mitchell County Courthouse for the regular Supervisor Board meeting. We have an agenda in front of us. So if you have a chance to look it over, if there's any additions or corrections. Those need a motion in a second.
Move to approve the agenda.
Steve's made a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Jim has seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 2, approve the minutes of the July 12th meeting. Everybody have a chance to look that over if there's any additions or corrections. Need a motion. Second.
Make a motion to the July 12th meeting.
Mark's made a motion to approve the July 12th meeting.
Second.
Todd has seconded. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Jim,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Todd.
Item 3, county attorney general discussion.
I was just gonna chat a little bit about that opioid settlement, but I think that's on the agenda
That's on
anyway.
the
I think Jim's got some information too, so I probably just wait till then. So if
Okay.
somebody has some questions or something.
Anybody have any questions for Aaron? Yes, hearing none. Move on to the sheriff report for June.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So I have fees collected in June of $3,352.60.
So we're looking for a motion and a second to approve the sheriff report for June.
I'll move to sheriff's report for June.
You just move to approve the sheriff's report. I guess I'll second that. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Probably the only other things, couple things, still waiting to get a truck fixed that hit a deer. New vehicle, I don't think's even arrived yet in Ankeny, so we'll wait like everybody else is waiting. So that's what we can do about that. And then we'll have some overtime coming with Statesville Bratwurst event, and then with Wapsie Day in Riceville. That's really all I have for you guys this morning, unless you have something for me, or if anybody here has criticisms or compliments, I always take those too. But
Doing a good job.
thanks, Mayor. Appreciate it. That's all I had.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Item 5, department head discussion. Anybody here for that? Hearing none. Guess we'll move on to item 6, is county engineer update.
Good morning. Couple of construction updates. Tortorella got paid last week. They got most of the shouldering done today or yesterday. They are putting some topsoil black dirt down today. Going to be putting some, relocating our signs again, and some seeding and mulch coming in. We're not in the seeding window yet, so they're trying to mulch stuff to keep the dirt where it needs to be and put silt fence down where it needs to go. And then I think by the end of the week we'll have, it won't be painted. I think the painter is probably supposed to come next week. So I think for the locals anyway, we'll have access in and out, but it won't be completely open until probably early next week or when the painters get done. So it looks really good. Pleased with the construction. Kirkwood, we had the pre-con last week, and then right away they turned around and had a problem with one of their plants down in southern Iowa. So they come up here and did some shoulder widening for a day. They've got a little bit left. I thought they said they might come in today and do some more work, but during the pre-con we talked about some construction adjustments or construction alternative means and methods for doing some of the shoulder stuff. We're still evaluating the numbers, but they went ahead and did the shoulder widening, but actually the shoulder strengthening, and then we're evaluating some extra things we I overlooked we want to pave the intersections for the gravel roads like we do on most of our stuff. I thought that had been included in the plans, but it hadn't been. So they put a change order in for that. And then with some of the savings we'll see on some of the construction alternative methods, we may have, it might be a wash to do all that stuff. So the construction itself, the costs itself are still on track as far as I know yet, until we get approval from the DOT. So I emailed them this morning to see if they take a look at what we're proposing, because by doing what we're doing, we may eliminate a lot of the erosion control stuff, which is nice. And class 10 excavation will only have to minimize that a little bit. So anyway, working some ways to make it a little bit less expensive and then cover the costs of those intersections, because we want to get those, we want to pave those like we've had in the past, just to kind of keep everything safe for everybody else. So other than that, I'm trying to close out some projects from the bridge projects that we've had constructed. So we're busy. That's all I've got for you.
Okay, sounds good. I had somebody call me on 500th Street from Rampart East. He said I don't know if that's included in the rock run, but there's very little gravel. Anytime it rains, it really gets slimy. A lot of feed trucks, hog trucks, grain trucks going down that road.
Take a look at it.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was included. I said I'd ask. And
I don't have the map with me to tell you if it is or isn't, but
Yep. If not,
sometimes it just isn't the year for that to get rocked. So we'll take a look at it.
if it needs some spot rock, maybe,
Yeah,
you know.
we'll look at it.
Look at it. Okay.
Can you send me a PDF of the plans for the Kirkwood and the?
Yeah.
Hickory? Thank you.
And he mentioned a bridge too there. That's just one of the cement ones, you know, that's near a little bit, you know, I suppose it's,
On 500.
yeah.
Yeah, there's, whether there's the narrow box culverts, people call some of these narrow boxes because they got sidewalls, they call them
Yeah,
bridges, or
they're
whether they're boxes or
They're
something
just
like that.
box, yeah.
We call them bomb bunkers because they're so heavily built, but they're narrow. So we'll take a look at that up there too. If it's not in dire need of replacement, obviously we're gonna use its life up before we replace it. But I know width can be an issue. Roads have gotten wider over the years, so.
Yeah, equipment and everything.
Yep. So.
Okay.
Well, God,
I got some food for thought. I talked with a guy last week, one day, on Golf Course Road. Just as you're at the top of the hill and you're going down, the landowner had now has taken all those trees out. They're all dead, hollowed trees. And he's wondering, he'd like to work together on it. You know, it always washes.
I think I might know what you're talking about on the shoulder.
Yeah, and it's really bad right now. But he would like to work with you on if we could do something, maybe bring something in, whether it's dirt or rock. He would prefer maybe dirt, and then he would pay for the seeding. He would do the seeding. However, he could work together with the county on that and see if we could. Now, some of those trees were on his property.
Sure.
Some were right up there by the road, but he just took them all down, and maybe this fall or something.
Yeah, I'll drive by there on my way back to the office, and if you got a location there, I can.
Yeah.
I was thinking of one of the locations that had some shoulder scour, but you might be talking about something else.
Yeah, I didn't quite get it all. This is
Yeah.
the top of the hill, and then
Yeah.
this is that new road going to back.
Okay. I think, yeah, this has some scour up here on the shoulder. You want this? I can.
No, you can have
All right,
that.
take that with you.
And he was really good about, he would work together with us on it. He could,
Yeah, well,
He
I'll
doesn't
take a
have-
look at it, and then I can get a hold of you and find out, you know, off the landowner and see what we can work out, if there's something we can do.
okay, perfect.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Item 7 is conservation update.
Hello.
Morning.
Hello, good morning. Thanks for having me, guys. Jim asked if I would come and give some monthly updates after board meetings, just to kind of keep you guys in the loop of what's going on out at conservation. This month, we talked about, we finished up some wetlands out at the Pitson property. It's a $100,000 project that we got all funded by grants that'll be coming in. So there's 3 different wetlands out there. on the property, and kind of had to get those done to get the grant to buy the property too. So that's just about complete. I think they're finishing up the south one down on Angle Road there, and then we can start filing to get our money back on that, and then we'll pay the bills. So that one's coming along good. The Wetland Mitigation Bank is another big one. We just got our final approval on for that from the Army Corps of Engineers. So now we start setting up the rivet site for the county where we can actually get our credits released here soon and start selling those. We can sell 15%. The going rate right now is between 35,000 and 40,000. She's saying that 40,000 is kind of where they're at today. But we haven't looked into that just yet. We also have to get the bid package together, get that out, and see what our actual construction costs are going to be. Obviously, since last June when you guys approved that, costs of everything have gone up. Engineer says you may be looking at double, you may not. You won't know until you get your bids out and kind of see how things come back in. So I think before we sell credits, maybe get the bids out and see what we're going to need to help try to mitigate those costs a little bit. More than willing to talk with you guys on how you want to work that deal, but we're just getting started going. We're also looking at some of the bid items being able to do in-house to cut down those costs, but I guess we can put them in the bid and see what they put for a cost on them, and if it's not acceptable, then we can decline those line items and do them ourselves if possible. So some tree removal. There's some stuff called Fleximat, which is cabled concrete that's going to go where they daylight tiles, basically to just keep dropping water from eroding. And then we might be able to put that in ourselves, which could save, just depending on what their contractors charge, 50 to 100,000 on the construction. So looking at those two items with that project. Other than that, we just got Lieber John put the Mitchell Mill Dam hoist back in place, so that's good. It's not yet operational, waiting on some chains and other parts to actually get it hooked up, but the helicopter dropped that in about a week ago Sunday. So we're pretty excited to have that done and over with. For John and his crew did a great job getting that done. Took some risks, but it all worked out. And thanks to Mark for letting them use their field to stage everything. Other than that, that's kind of our main projects going on. There's a bunch of events coming up. You can check our Facebook page on as far as free floats. They've got stargazing programs, three events on the Wapsie Trail this next month. The Wapsie Wiggles, August 6th. There's a golf cart day for people who are disabled or in nursing homes that want to check out the trail on the 17th, and then a border bike on the 27th. So kind of what we're up to right now. You guys got any questions on anything?
You're talking about that dam, finishing that up. I've had a couple of people that have cabins and houses a lot there. Are you any plans of dropping the river this year?
That's a good question. So we are looking at doing some concrete renovation on the upstream side of the powerhouse. That one's still in permitting when you drop the river. Apparently it's a pretty lengthy process. We have not got approval on that yet, but we are hoping to get it for this fall. So there's a good chance, but I wouldn't tell anyone it's a guarantee. If it's not this fall, we'd probably have to wait till the next one or until we get some really low flows for, it's probably going to take 2 months to do the construction. So we'd like to do it in the winter time when we're not producing any electricity anyway, so we don't lose out on that. So fingers crossed it'd be November.
No.
That would be the ideal. Yeah. Keep you posted on that. We have to send out a public notification if it does go through, so everyone will get notified ahead of time.
Okay.
Shouldn't be a big deal for anybody during the winter months having that down.
No, I guess a lot of them are looking forward to it so they can
Yeah,
do abutments and things like
I
that.
think you got a wood pile there on the north side of the dam you might want to attend to.
Yeah, I think they got most of that last week.
Did they?
Yep. Yeah, a lot of that high water stuck everything on there for us. Didn't work out quite as we'd like, but I think we got ahead of it now, so. Anything else?
I just add that I thought that was nice that you gave that quilt to Elaine.
Oh, thanks.
govern, for she's been taking care of the trail for what, 40 years?
Yeah, Elaine's kind of the whole reason the Wapsie Trail's there, and they do a great job. She's got volunteers that run that thing and tell us when there's an issue and look out for it. And they run most of these events. We just do the maintenance and get things ready for them, and then she runs with it. So she's a great asset to the county. We appreciate that. So thank you, Mike.
He was happy.
Yeah, she was pretty happy about that. So
They made, well, they had pictures on there of the different spots of the trail. I don't know who made that quote.
Lori King kind of started it, and then Claudia LaCour actually quilted it. So
Yeah,
just a thank you from the board to do that.
that was nice.
Thank you for being here.
You bet.
Yeah.
Thank you,
get to
guys.
hear it, plus the people on the owl, the public gets to hear it too, so that's good information.
All right. Yeah. See you next month.
Yep, thank you. Item 8, approve the treasurer's semi-annual report. Well, we have this report here, the treasurer's net balance is 12,033,454.86. Cash and drawer, 17,891.57, and certificates of deposit, 326,408.50. Total cash and in banks is 12,377,754.93. So we need
I'll move to approve the treasurer's semi-annual report.
to move to approve the report. Do we have a second? Art will second that. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Steve.
All right.
Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Okay. Item 9 is approve recorder's quarterly report. Total fees collected were $107,508.54. The county share was $29,658.44. The state share was $77,850.10. There was some management fees, so the total amount paid to the county treasurer was $30,293.44. And we need a motion.
Move to approve the recorder's quarterly report.
Made a motion to approve. We have a second.
I'll second that.
Need to second it. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Steve. Jim.
Aye.
Todd.
Item 10, approve auditor's quarterly report. And there's liquor license beer permits of $1,397.50, plat books 216, miscellaneous fees 268 or 288.68, and elections 10,010. Total amount paid to the county treasurer is $11,912.18. And we need a motion to approve this report in a second.
Make a motion to approve the auditor's quarterly report.
Mark has made a motion to approve the auditor's quarterly report. We have a second.
Second.
Jim has seconded. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Steve.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Okay. Item 11, discussion on opioid settlement. I guess that's the Aaron again, huh?
That'd be me, and I think Jim's pretty good with the two.
Comment or?
Well, yeah, I'll kind of tell you how I understand it there. So, well, if it was last Wednesday, I don't remember now, but last week there was a web meeting with mostly state of Iowa county officials the attorneys who were handling the opioid settlement on behalf of the plaintiffs, which are the counties and the states and everything. The point of the meeting was to just try and update everybody on the settlement, try and give people an idea of what they could expect to get and how it was going to work. So the bottom line, as I understand it, is supposed to be the payments are going to be made, are the way they're set right now, to be made mostly on an annual basis, but I think for a total of 18 payments.
18 payments.
So obviously, I think it's over the next 16 years or so, there's going to have to, there'll be an extra payment somewhere in there. The first payment, for example, for Mitchell County is going to be $5,082, I think, which is not, I realize maybe a ton of money, but it's something. Those payments can be made or can be used to try to alleviate the opioid problem, I guess is the best way to say it. There are some listed reasons. I think Rachel sent some out yesterday, and then in that memorandum of understanding, I don't know if I sent that to you guys or not. I've got it, but anyway, there's a list in there of what you can use it for. And for the most part, the categories are pretty broad. I personally, this personal opinion, I sometimes think maybe it'd be better if you just let the counties use it how they want, but it's not my call, and I suppose I can see why they put those restrictions on it. But anyway, it's pretty broad, I think, what it could be used for. There is some conversation that the payments could be securitized, which not a financial genius. I understand a little bit about finance. I think that's kind of a fancy way of basically saying, okay, there's some conversation about taking this income stream and amortizing it back like a present value, and people, counties, being able to essentially sell their income stream for a lump sum amount. Wisconsin, I think, is kind of interested in that. Well, I mean, I think a lot of counties are interested in that, but Wisconsin's interested in it specifically because they've got an opioid problem. I think that maybe is somewhat worse than maybe a lot of places in the country. But anyway, they're interested in saying, okay, we've got some problems we need to fix, and getting dribs and drabs over the next X number of years isn't really helpful. We'd rather have a lump sum up front. So there is some discussion, some conversation about being able to do that. I believe what they said was if that were to happen, that it may be somewhere between 55 and 85%. I think if you were to take the income stream, add it up, your lump sum would be 55 to 85% of that. Again, those are just preliminary figures and pretty early in the process, I think, to even, we're not far enough yet that we can't call anybody up and say, hey, we want to do that, even if you wanted to. But it's something definitely to look out for. I think so, as I understand it here, within, well, probably maybe any day now, they should be sending out an email. I assume I'll get it. Maybe you guys get it too. I'll be looking out for it. That's supposed to have some instructions on how counties can claim that first payment. It's kind of an online process you go in and fill out. I'm happy to assist with that. You don't necessarily have to be the one to do it, but I'm happy to, to do it.
You just volunteered.
Yep.
Well, that's fine. I'm perfectly, happy to do it. And I am kind of keeping an eye out on that email for that email. I think they were wanting to wait a little period of time to see if anybody had any objections to the settlement. Now, as I understand it, I'm not necessarily a class action attorney either. That's a little more specialized also, but I think the time for like objecting to the overall process is probably over, right? Usually in these kinds of actions, there are certain representatives that do the speaking for everybody. So for example, if somebody wanted to go in and say, hey, I contest the way this whole thing went down, but I contest this settlement. Probably too late to do that. I think more what they were saying is take a look at the numbers and see if you think we made any math errors. I think is kind of what they were saying, it was like, if you think we made it, if you think you're entitled to 10,000 instead of 5,000 under the formula, let us know. Well, I'll be honest with you. I've looked at things I have, and I don't know if I can tell one way or the other, to be perfectly honest with you, whether the math is right or not. I get we're kind of trusting their numbers and
Is it based on population?
yeah.
Is that what it is?
Well, at least partially, yeah, it is. I've chatted with some others around the state, and they're like, well, yeah, it seems right. So I guess that's probably kind of the gist of what I have. I think Jim was on there too, and as I said before, sometimes people can attend the exact same meeting and hear the exact same information, but sometimes come away with different things, so I'd be interested, Jim, if I misspoke or if he's got anything to clarify or anything.
I think you're pretty spot on with almost all of that. I think there's going to be 2 payments this month, the way I understood it, and then annually after that. So total of 18 payments, but this year we're going to get 2, or I shouldn't say 2 payments this month, 1 this month and 1 at the end of the year. So 2 payments this year. And now $5,000, I have no idea the best way to spend this, and that's why I wanted people in here that are dealing with this to weigh in on it. $5,000 might not seem like an awful lot of money annually to solve this problem, and I didn't know if it's something we wanted to securitize it, or we lose possibly a substantial amount of money in the long run by doing that. But there's no decisions that need to be made today. But I wanted these people to maybe start talking about it and seeing what the best needs are for this money, whether it be if we're going to keep the $5,000 per year, a program that you create that best serves the needs for those dollar amounts that we're receiving. I envision it, doesn't have to be this way. Rachel creates a special fund that's designated for this purpose. And when something that you people create, when you need to draw from that fund, it comes from what she has created in that fund. So it doesn't have to be that way. That's just something to maybe start the thought process. So comments from the people that were invited?
I would just say, Jim, from an enforcement standpoint, I can handle that from the budget that I have. So I think I would support, prevention and treatment through county social services and the hospital.
Okay.
That's my initial thoughts on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think that they would come up with the programs to use that money, being that it is stipulated, use for the alleviate the opioid problem. They would come up with the programs and the ways to utilize that money.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts?
Rachel, could you send us that of the activities that you can do this kind of thing?
We do also have a Michigan County Substance Abuse Coalition that we meet monthly, that I can discuss that at our next meeting and just kind of and see if they have any ideas. Something I was thinking as well, we have drop off for the drugs at the Sheriff's Department. Is that the only place in Michigan County that you have that at?
I think the police department, but that would be the only 2 spots.
It'd be good to have that more areas or offer individuals with like a drug buster formula where they can take the extra hydrocodone or those type of opiates that they have and be able to use that drug buster at home to get rid of it. A lot of people start to flush them down the toilet to get rid of them instead of dropping them off, and that's not good for our sewer system either. So that's an option. Another option I thought of was Narcan. Narcan is, I think eventually they want to sell it over the counter. It's not at that point yet, but offering that, and Narcan is if someone does have a drug overdose, you can give them the Narcan and it'll bring them back to life. It's used a lot. I think we see a lot more of the synthetic drugs and not so much of the pill form being people having overdoses. And heroin, I would say, is another huge one probably in Mitchell County.
Oh, yeah, it's impacted.
Yeah.
Our county.
So I'd say those are, you have the other ones where people misuse them, either take them more than needed or go and break into people's houses. We don't see that happening as much, but I'd say heroin and the synthetic drugs, the fentanyl, those types of things that's synthetic is where the problem is. So having Narcan available, education, promoting things, that's what I see on our end of things that came to mind for us.
Do officers carry? fentanyl officers?
We've had Narcan for 5 or 6 years. Make it longer.
And I don't know if the hospital is involved. I know the pharmacy is. Do you guys have a program where look up and just make sure they're not going to a doctor in Minnesota getting some? That's a free program that the pharmacy, Iowa Board of Pharmacy has set up too. So that's already installed here in Mitchell County. So that's good. So just some different things with the Narcan or drug buster or more drop-off stations. For some people, it's hard to drop them off. They're single. I'll just store them in my cabinet, We'll hear that. They may be a break-in, or other family friends who come in and take that, and just easy for those people to get rid of it with a drug buster. And so dropping it off places too.
So the thing with the Dropbox, you gotta think that through because it's a great tool, probably one of the most successful tools we have. But we have hundreds of pounds of that prescription drug turned in, and we need to figure out how we're gonna dispose of it. So that becomes a problem on occasion. We've always been able to solve it, but there isn't, you just don't call a dump truck and throw it in and take it to the landfill. So if you have more drop boxes around the county, not just in OSIG, but around the county, then you're gonna have, much more product to dispose of, and that can be a problem at times.
And a drug buster,
Something to think about.
drug buster, you just put it in a bag, put water in it, or put whatever, shake it up, and you can throw it in your garbage. It dissolves all the drugs, so it'd be no impact on the drop boxes either, too. So it's something, does the pharmacies offer it to anyone that's getting an opiate or any of those types of meds? Something to that we fund, or we have an application process, and they come in and pick it up from hospital, us, social services, something like that, and then we fund that. We do buy them. How much are they for a container?
I don't even know off the top of my head how much it is.
It's an option as well too.
Yeah, I would agree with Jessa. The first thing I thought of was substance abuse council, because we're all participate on it, as well as kind of the Narcan, making sure that we have access to that. So those are the two things I thought of as well.
A very basic thing, but when I was looking at some options, having pharmacies distribute free medication lock boxes for maybe individuals who are taking long term. And then I don't know what the DARE program looks like currently throughout the county, but if there's any investment needed in that, or if there's some sort of program that we could offer to the high school age students throughout the county with another site or idea.
I would be open to anything. You guys have, or you ladies have the email that is sent out to everybody, so you do have each other's email. And I don't know if this is something that you could discuss this one another and come up with a plan that you could recommend to the board of supervisors that fits the amount of money that we're getting.
We meet at the end of the month for MCSAC next Tuesday or 2 Tuesdays, I don't even know the date. But I think maybe bringing up at that type of a coalition and having the full coalition involved, and then they can have it from there. I'll ask Christine to get on the agenda for that, and we can discuss that. I know Mike is on it for supervisors, but if, with the knowledge that you have and you attend the webinar, I wouldn't mind if you attended, or it's via Zoom or in person, I can't remember.
It's
and
in
then
person,
you can
it's
just,
in here.
okay. And then you can just give them an update on it, and then we can that's weird.
When is that?
I'll send you an email.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
The 26th.
It's on a Tuesday.
This is what Rachel sent out. It's in paper form,
Oh,
but
perfect.
pass it on to yourself.
There was a lot to read, so I did not ever see anything about if there was a timeline that money had to be used up. And I just want to make sure that if you've seen anything, you let us know.
I will. I've not. I've wondered. I mean, just in my own mind, I've not seen anything.
I don't remember hearing that either.
I don't remember ever hearing that. I don't remember ever reading it. I will keep my eye out, and ears open for that.
Just so the group can kind of, if there becomes a timeline after getting so much built up,
Right.
let's get something, going and be able to make sure we use it.
Yep.
Kind of what I wanted, just some thought processes started. It's the best way to do it. We gotta work together and work with a plan and they're the experts. Yes.
Okay, any more discussion on this? Okay, moving on. Item 12, discussion and action on HVAC payment request number 2.
So we got another payment request from our consultant in regarding to some stockpile materials that Casper has. They have some of the ceiling cassettes that came in. And the amount comes to $20,856.40. You can look at this. This is a copy. I'll want that back, but
Yeah.
Everything going as scheduled. Okay,
yeah, nothing really big starting yet, but
but yeah.
yeah.
Problems with the material. They mentioned anything about,
Haven't said anything. No shortages anytime, any place, hasn't said anything.
yeah,
Okay, no. That's good. I think the air handling units, there was at that one time, a 30-week waiting period, but that was a while back. But I'll move to approve HVAC pay request number 2.
Okay. Jim made a motion to approve it. Need a second? I guess I'll second that. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye. Okay, moving on, item 13, discussion and action on resolution to approve and sign Iowa Economic Development Assistance Contract. That is for the Valley Biosciences. Good here. And then a second to approve that. Is there any discussion on it then? Yeah, is there any discussion on this that I think we've already been down this road, so.
So I make a motion to approve resolution 1138-22.
Okay. Mark's made a motion to approve it. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
To second it. Any further discussion on this?
Roll call, Mike.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Okay. Item 14, items of vote, meetings attended.
Well, I had region policy board as far as the transportation board, and they approved the called there's so many acronyms in this, it's amazing. But transportation improvement projects, what they approved. So a lot of numbers involved with that. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's overall, there's 550 billion in new funding, half going to transportation. That's coming from Washington. Then the state breaks that down, 55% to RPAs and MPOs, and 45% to other allocations. We get lost in all that. So if you have questions about that, by all means, ask me. We can go over it more in detail. But that was approved. There was a statement in the tip that I found interesting. So we're part of Region 2, and that includes 8 counties. So what their plan, and I don't dispute this. This is the way it is. But the Mason City and the Clear Lake area are considered the retail and medical center of our region, and they consider Charles City, Forest City, Osage, Hampton, and Algona to be their along state highways, and those towns or those counties will supply the labor force and affordable housing for the region. Now, I understand we're never going to be the hub of the region. Mason City, Clear Lake are going to be. But if we're going to be the ones that are supplying adequate housing, we need to be active in trying to promote that so that this county is the one that's getting those houses and not other counties. They also state that the county seats and the communities along the state highways, which we are that, are going to have some industrial and commercial applications, not as much as the hub, which is Mason City, Clear Lake, but they still will have some. We are one of those locations, so we need to promote industry and stuff within our county also. So yeah, they don't consider us the hub. They consider us a place that's going to provide adequate housing, but we need to be aggressive at trying to make that happen. So that's all I had on that one. There was a daycare meeting. What they pretty much came up with is they had 30 days to figure out. There were 2 parts of that grant process. One had to do with a new facility or expanding on an existing facility. The other part of it had to do with wages and to try to sustain people working within the daycares. In a 30-day period, they didn't have enough time to figure out an expansion or a new facility. And realistically, you can't design something in that short a time. So it was no fault of them to not having it happen. But they did decide to pursue the small grant. There's been a number of Zoom meetings since that decision was made. I didn't attend those meetings, so I'm not sure where the grant process is at. I think a lot of those other Zoom meetings were to get that finalized so that that grant could be wrote, and I think it probably is underway. So they're pursuing that avenue. I guess that's all I had.
I had some meetings. I had a Floyd Mitchell Chickasaw landfill meeting. That was July 12th. Approved the agenda and the minutes of the previous meeting and summary list of bills. Our meeting, the new business was the financial report, which was approved. Everything is looking good. We had a director's report. Everything working good. They started on the convenience area. Contractor is keeping his same bid as last year, so that's a shot. Raise the price. The website is in progress, and also discuss the need for a new haul truck. Mason City has a hydraulic push-out truck, which means it pushes it out rather than raises the box and dumps out.
Also discussed a video to be made by Andy Teets from the Mitchell County Conservation about the landfill. And in June, our tonnage was 3,057 tons of material dropped at the landfill. Moving on, I had the North Central Regional Emergency Response Commission meeting. It's called to order. We had a quorum, approved the minutes, agenda, financial report was discussed, that was approved. No comments from the floor. Unfinished business. I guess basically we discussed when our next meeting was. Then we had a North Central Regional Emergency Planning District Committee meeting. Determined quorum, approved the minutes meeting. Hazmat team report. Jody Wyverney gave the report. On April 26th in Franklin County, they had a spill. Discussed repairs for the last quarter and discussed a training session on June 1st. And purchase, let's see, what did we get here? Oh, natural gas and propane flare kit at the cost of $2,568. Also discussed was anhydrous ammonia spill that had occurred in Mitchell County, just south of New Haven. That happened June 17th. There was no communications from the floor, and we went down to unfinished business. Discussed about the joint meetings of these two. There'll still be a separate meeting. Each one will be its own, but they want to combine them together so that we have a larger amount of people at the meeting. They discussed how to do that with two different chairs. Discussed it can be done. Was also discussed that the only meeting that is important for the state of Iowa is that we have the North Central Regional Emergency Planning District Committee meeting. That's the only one that's really required. But both will still need both organizations, and they'll still need to be separate. And we discussed that our next meeting time will be October 12th, 2022. So that's my meetings.
Well, I had a conservation board meeting, but pretty much went over that, so.
I had nothing.
Moving on, we have our management plan updates.
One for Peter Nolt Site 1, 2541 370th Street, Osage, and Peter Nolt Site 2, 2611 370th Street, Osage.
Thank you. Item C, clerk of court report for June. Total being $2,229.30. Clerk's monthly report of fees collected. So noted, I guess. So item D, we have public comments. Anybody in the public? Any comments? Hearing none. So we need a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Second. Steve's made a motion. Jim has seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.